the next question is, are women allowed to visit the graveyards? This is a disputed matter. Some ulama consider it haram, some consider it makruh, and some consider it permissible. The summarized answer on this is that it's permissible for women to visit the graveyards, and with the intention of remembering the life after, it's mustahab. So long as no type of fitan or munkarat occur, and it shouldn't be frequent. There should be no free mixing, no wailing over the grave, no loud shouting and crying, and so on. And I'll briefly mention why this is the correct position. Abdullah ibn Abi Mulaika, rahimahullah ta'ala, saw Aisha walking out of the graveyard. So he inquired about that. He asked Aisha radiallahu anha where she came from, and she said she was visiting the grave of her brother Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr. Abdullah ibn Abi Mulaika said, أليس كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن زيارة القبور? Didn't the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم forbid visiting the graves? She said yes. But then he ordered it. She said, نعم. ثم أمر بزيارتها. This occurred decades after the death of the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. Abdullah ibn Abi Mulaika was a alim and a mufti and among the biggest of the tabi'een. He was born during the time of Ali radiallahu anh, or shortly before that. Meaning, this occurred way after the death of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's also been documented that her brother, Aisha's brother Abdurrahman, the brother she went to visit, he lived to attend the funeral of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas died during the Khilafah of Muawiyah 55 years after the Hijrah. Radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. So that means her brother, Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr, who she went to visit, lived more than 55 years after the Hijrah. This incident occurred nearly a half a century after the death of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq, Aisha's brother, who she went to visit, died around a half a century after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now Aisha cleared the issue Abdullah ibn Abi Mulaika had pertaining to visiting the graves. It was forbidden, and then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered it. Aisha was walking out of the graveyard from visiting her brother. So it's a weak rationale to allege that she was talking about men only. Keep in mind Aisha's high fiqh and knowledge status that everyone knows about. That's in general. Everyone knows about her high status in fiqh. But in this specific matter, she also has specific knowledge and great knowledge, because she also narrated the hadith on what to say when visiting the graveyard. In Sahih Muslim, under the chapter of ما يقال عند دخول القبور والدعاء لأهلها. There's a chapter in Sahih Muslim, what's to be said when you visit the graveyard. And in a long hadith in Sahih Muslim, it starts off where the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent the night at Aisha radiallahu anha's house. And he didn't want to wake Aisha up, so he left the house quietly. And he gently closed the door in order not to wake Aisha up. Aisha was alert, radiallahu anha, and she wanted to know where the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam went. It's very late at night. So she got dressed up and followed him. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam had gone to the Baqiyah. After they returned, they had a short discussion, and he told her, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the angel Jibril came and told me, your Lord orders you to go visit the occupants of the Baqiyah. Here's our point at the very end of the hadith. Aisha radiallahu anha asked the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كيف أقول لهم يا رسول الله? How should I pray for them? How do I make dua for them? Meaning, when we visit the graves, how do we make dua for them? And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught her the famous hadith that we say when we go visit the graveyards. He said, قولي السلام على أهل الديار من المؤمنين والمسلمين ويرحم الله المستقدمين منا والمستأخرين وإنا إن شاء الله بكم للاحقون. Aisha radiallahu anha visits her brother nearly half a century after the death of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I stress that so everyone will know the timeline, so they will not say that's abrogated. She also narrated the famous hadith that's in Sahih Muslim, the dua that we all say when we visit the graveyards. Do you think that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam would delay telling her that women going to the graveyards is not permissible? He would have said, Aisha, this is the dua for visiting the graves. But you women are not permitted to go visit the graves. The hadith, لعن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم زوارات القبور, that the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم cursed women who visit graves. The significance, or wajh dalala, we call it wajh dalala, the significance that's taken from that hadith by some to prove that women can go to the graveyards is weak. Because Al-Qurtubi and others stated that that's for those who constantly visit the graveyards. للمكثرات, consistently, always visiting the graveyards. Why? How did they come to that understanding? Because the term zuwarat linguistically is in the exaggerated form. Zuwarat. And it's possibly due to the wailing that results from women visiting the graveyards. So Al-Qurtubi said, if none of that occurs, then there's no problem with them visiting the graveyards. Ash-Shawkani commented on that, and he said, that is the proper rationale that should be applied in bringing together the apparently or seemingly contradictory ahadith on this matter. In the hadith in Sahih Muslim, نهيتكم عن زيارة القبور فزوروها. فزوروها. I forbade you from visiting the graves, but now you may visit them. Visit them. فزوروها, the term, visit them, encompasses men and women. The term encompasses men and women, and they're equal in the illah. They're equal in the legal shari'i reason. The legal shari'i reason for visiting the graves is to remember the life after, and men are and women are equal in that. In Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by a woman who was crying over a grave, and he told her sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ittaqillaha wasbiri, fear Allah and be patient. She told the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, go away. My calamity hasn't befallen you, and you don't know my circumstances and situation. They told her, the one who was advising you is the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She wasn't aware that that was the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she went to his door. She regretted what she had done, and she went to his house. She went to his door. She apologized to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she explained that she did not know it was the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إنما الصبر عند الصدمة الأولى. Patience is when calamity first strikes. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised her about her weeping and crying over the grave. Then she went to his house, and he advised her again when he said, إنما الصبر عند الصدمة الأولى. Do you really think he would delay, in such a context, he would delay advising her about not going to the graveyard, if that was prohibited? He had two opportunities to advise her about not going to the graveyard. Once at the graveyard, and when she visited him. And this pertains to visiting the graves. So he would have told her, don't go visit graves at all anymore. That's similar to the earlier hadith when the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught Aisha radiallahu anha what to say at the graveyard. Do you think he would teach her the dua for visiting the graves, but not tell her that it's not permissible for women to visit them? There's other details. I think this is sufficient, inshallah. There's other details. Not every setting is suitable to go into extreme details as we usually do elsewhere. I think this is sufficient on this matter. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.